I woke up on the cold linoleum floor of our kitchen in Sedona, Arizona, with the taste of copper in my mouth and a pounding ache in my skull that screamed I'd taken a real hit this time. The sun was already blasting through the window blinds, casting striped shadows across the room like prison bars. I could hear the drip-drip of the coffee maker finishing its cycle, mocking me with its normalcy. No tears came right away, maybe because this was a new territory. But it was the first time my head had cracked against the edge of the granite countertop hard enough to make the world spin. Stars danced in my vision, little fireworks against the beige ceiling tiles. Dad, Rick, the man who'd raised me but never really claimed me, had lost it over breakfast not being on the table fast enough. His words had turned into a shove, then a full-on swing, and I'd gone down like a sack of potatoes. In a town like Sedona, with its red rock vistas and new-age tourists flocking for vortex energy, folks like us blended into the background. We were the locals scraping by, not the ones posing for Instagram at Cathedral Rock. I'd grown up hearing that family sticks together through thick and thin, but right then, as blood trickled down my temple and pooled sticky under my cheek, it felt more like a chain than a bond. I wasn't screaming. The quiet after the blow was heavier than the pain itself. It whispered that no one was coming to help. Not even her. They say out west, you learn to tough it out, cowboy up and all that. But as I pushed myself up on one elbow, the room tilting like a bad carnival ride, his words echoed louder than the thud. You're not my kid,
Sarah.
You're just the help around here. It wasn't the first insult, but this one cut deep, rewriting my whole damn life. All those years scrubbing toilets, flipping burgers at the local diner to chip in on bills, smiling through awkward family barbecues where I was more server than guest, it all crumbled. I wasn't family. I was free labor in a house that felt more like a motel than a home. The scent of burnt toast hung in the air, mixing with the metallic tang of my split lip. I shifted my gaze and there she was. Mom. Linda. Framed in the doorway like a statue in one of those art galleries downtown. Her bathrobe was tied neat as ever, arms folded across her chest as if she were inspecting a spill I'd have to mop up. Her eyes didn't widen in shock. Her feet stayed planted. The only movement was her slipper tapping a slow rhythm on the threshold, like she was counting down to something inevitable. My lips parted. But not to yell, there was no point. Just a whisper. Mom. Nothing. Her face was blank as the desert sky before a storm. If heartbreak had a face, it was hers, cold, distant, etched with indifference. She'd seen this dance before. We both had. But this time, there was real blood, a gash that needed stitches, not just a bruise to hide under makeup. And still, she didn't budge. Her silence hit harder than Rick's fist ever could. The woman who'd once braided my hair before school now stood there, choosing her side of the line between us. I don't know how long I stared, blood drying in itchy trails. But when she finally turned and walked away, it was like flipping off a light switch. I was alone in the dark. My hand groped for my phone, knocked to the floor by the fridge. The screen was smeared with my fingerprint in red, mine. Undeniable. My thumb trembled over the keypad. Dialing meant no turning back. No more pretending this was just one of those days. But his words sealed it. Not family. That was the shove I needed. I punched in 911. The ring was brief. A calm voice answered. Female. Steady as the red rocks outside. 911. What's your emergency? This is Sarah Thompson. I've been assaulted in my home. I need help.
No hysterics.
Just facts. She didn't probe or doubt. She just said, units are en route. Stay on the line. For the first time in forever, I wasn't the one sweeping up the shards. I was reporting them. I stayed put on the floor, staring at the ceiling, counting breaths to keep steady. The stainless steel oven door reflected back a version of me I barely recognized, bloody, bruised, but eyes wide open. I wasn't waiting to be saved. I was done being scared. I tried something like this at 17. A black eye from falling down the stairs, a chat with a school counselor that led to a family meeting at our Methodist church. It ended with tearful prayers about wayward teens and forgiveness, silencing me for years.
But now,
At 25, I wasn't asking permission. I was filing a report. Red and blue lights flashed through the window soon after. No siren, just presence. Linda reappeared at the edge of the hall, arms still crossed, mouth tight. "What the hell have you done?" she hissed, more annoyed than afraid. I didn't answer. I looked past her. The knock came firm. My heart thumped like a bass drum in a country band. I pushed to my feet, blood crusting at my hairline, and opened the door myself. The deputy was solid, mid-50s, with a salt and pepper ponytail under her hat and a uniform that screamed authority. She locked eyes with me, not pitying, just assessing. "Sarah Thompson?" I nodded. Behind me, Linda piped up, cool as a canyon breeze. "She's overreacting." Just a little family spat. The deputy, badge red Deputy Reyes, didn't flinch.
Mum.
"Step aside." She knelt beside me, eyes scanning the bruise blooming on my cheek. "Can you tell me what happened?" I did. Straightforward. Rick had been drinking since last night. Blew up over breakfast. Slammed my head into the counter. No drama. Just the play-by-play. I pulled a USB from my pocket, the hidden nanny cam I'd installed in the kitchen clock after the last incident. Footage is on here. This isn't the first time. She took it without a word, signaling another officer to cuff Rick, who was muttering in the living room. He didn't resist, just grumbled. Always the victim. As they let him out, the house air shifted, stale secrets finally airing out. Linda hovered, jaw set. I waited for her to say something real. "We don't air dirty laundry like this," she whispered. "Family handles it in-house." "No," I shot back. "You don't. That's why we're here." The ambulance arrived quick. EMTs checking me over. I climbed in, and, to my surprise, Linda slid in beside me. No words, just her fingers drumming on her knee like she was waiting for a pot roast to finish. The sirens stayed silent, lights flashing as we rolled toward the hospital. I stared at the ceiling, feeling the road rumble, wondering if her silence was regret or just routine. At the ER in Flagstaff, closest big hospital, the lights were harsh, buzzing like angry bees. Nurses were efficient, kind but professional, like they'd patched up worse in these parts. They CT scanned my head, stitched the gash with 6 neat pulls. When one asked about domestic violence reporting, I met her eyes. Already did. Deputies have the evidence. Linda lingered nearby, telling a nurse. She gets worked up sometimes. The nurse glanced between us. A silent nod of understanding. The doc, a no-nonsense guy in scrubs, finished his exam and said, "You need space?" I nodded.
Mum.
"Wait outside," he told Linda. She left with a huff, shooting me a look like I was the troublemaker. Hours ticked by on the wall clock. Deputy Reyes showed up again. He's detained overnight. But this isn't over. Protective orders in the works. I exhaled. Can I shape what comes next? She met my gaze. You started when you called. As dawn crept in, pink and orange over the pines, my phone buzzed. A forwarded email from an unknown sender, I should have said something sooner. It was from Dr.
Elena Vargas.
My old family doc in Sedona. She'd always been too smiley with Linda in the room. Too quiet alone with me. The email confessed she'd fudged records at Linda's insistence. For family harmony. Attached were originals, a wrist sprain listed as sports injury when I'd said he grabbed me.
Peace. She called it.
Bullshit. It was cover-up. I didn't rage. I forwarded it all to Deputy Reyes. Subject: tampered medical records, evidence attached. A memory surfaced. Thanksgiving when I was 14. Spilling gravy at a neighborhood potluck. Linda made me clean it on my knees while everyone watched. My brother,
Jake,
had knocked over a pie earlier, got a hug, and accidents happen.
Me?
I was the klutz. The outsider. Now I saw it. I wasn't clumsy. I was expendable. A knock at the door. Nurse. Visitor named Carla. I didn't know a Carla. Send her in. The woman who entered had my eyes. Darker hair. She hesitated. I'm Carla, your half-sister. From Dad's first marriage. Linda didn't want reminders around. She handed me an envelope. Letters. Photos. One showed me at 5. In a yard I didn't recall. Wearing a locket. Another, Carla at 16. Same locket. She isolated me too. Called me unstable. Her words landed like sand in a storm. When they erase you, they steal your voice first. I grabbed a notepad. Started jotting. Dates. Incidents. Witnesses. This wasn't venting, it was building a case. After Carla left, leaving me with a stack of faded photos that felt like puzzle pieces from a life I never knew, I spread them across the hospital bed like evidence in a trial. Faces stared back, smiles that weren't mine to remember. Moments scrubbed from our family lore. But my mind had clung to them, stubborn as a cactus in the desert. A young nurse came in, early 20s, with quick steps and eyes that had seen too much shift work. She adjusted my 4, then leaned in close. Off the record? Your mom's been calling the desk every hour, asking who's visited, what you've said. I didn't blink. She's not mopping up a mess. She's trying to bury the trail. The nurse nodded. Sounds like she's sweating bullets. Good for you. Once she was gone, I scanned Dr. Vargas's docs on my phone and shot them to Deputy Reyes. Accountability wasn't just a word anymore. It was a list I started right there, people who'd looked away. Starting with the church folks who'd whispered, but never spoken up. Dinner trays rattled down the hall as evening hit. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Text. Heard your spinning tales.
Sarah.
Watch who you pull under. I stared at it, then saved it as evidence. Threats don't scare when you've already hit rock bottom. That triggered another memory, Christmas a few years back, when I'd baked pies for the whole extended family gathering at our ranch-style house on the outskirts of Sedona. Jake accidentally smashed one. Got a laugh and a pat on the back from Rick.
Me?
I spent the night remaking it. No thanks. Just expectations. Now it clicked. Favoritism wasn't random. It was a system. With me at the bottom. The next morning, discharge papers in hand, I left the hospital with a prescription for painkillers and a referral to a counselor. Linda was waiting in the lobby, arms crossed like always. Ready to come home? She asked, as if nothing had shattered. No, I said flat. I'm staying with a friend. Her eyes narrowed. You're tearing this family apart. I walked past her to the Uber I'd called. It was already cracked. My friend Mia, not in the old life, but let's call her Mia here, lived in a cozy adobe bungalow in nearby Cottonwood, with views of the Verde Valley that made you feel small in the best way. She didn't ask questions when I showed up. just handed me tea and pointed to the spare room. Binders on the desk if you need to organize your thoughts. Mia was a paralegal at a local firm, sharp as a tack. That night, I dove into public records online, county clerk's site for Yavapai County. What I found floored me. Our family home refinanced last year. My name forged as cosigner. Signatures didn't match mine, but close enough to fool a notary? Hell no. I printed it. Heart racing. This wasn't just abuse, it was fraud. Next, I checked old emails from college apps. Jake had gone to Arizona State on a full ride, merit scholarship. He bragged. But digging into my archived inbox, I found rejection letters for me, despite identical stats. Then the kicker. Forwarded docs under Jake's name. Same essays. Same rec letters. He'd stolen my application. Rerouted the aid. Earned it. My ass, it was identity theft. Plain and simple. I called Mia in. Look at this. She scanned, whistled low. That's federal student aid fraud. We can report to the DOE, but start with the DA. We built a file that night, mortgage forgery under Arizona law, a Class 4 felony. Plus the assault charges. No revenge fantasy, just legal recourse. Step by step. The following day, I met Deputy Reyes at the station in Prescott. She reviewed the USB footage. Clear as day. Rick's swing. My fall. Solid for assault and battery, she said. With the medical tampering, we can add witness intimidation if Dr. Vargas testifies. I handed over the financial docs. And this. She nodded. White-collar unit will love it. Protective orders filed. Rick can't come within 500 feet. Back at Mia's. My phone rang, Jake. What the fuck? Sarah? Mom's freaking out. Good, I said. She should be. You both used my name like a credit card. Silence. It was for the family. Bullshit. Family doesn't forge. He hung up.
No, Jelino.
Just the click of denial. That evening, another email from an old high school buddy. Annabelle. Saw the news about your dad. Remember that bar video I sent years ago? Resending. Attached, grainy clip from a dive in Sedona. Rick slurring to strangers. Sarah's always been a drama queen. Deserved every lesson. He didn't deny the hits, he justified them. I forwarded to Reyes. More evidence. Days blurred into research. I learned Arizona statutes inside out, domestic violence protections under Title 13, forgery penalties. It wasn't empowering yet, it was survival homework. One afternoon, Carla called. Found more, Dad's old will. Cut me out after Linda pushed. Want copies? Hell yes. They arrived scanned, disinheritance based on instability claims. Pattern emerging. Silence, the inconvenient daughters. I invited Linda and Jake to Mia's for a talk. Neutral ground. They showed. Linda in her Sunday best. Jake fidgety. I laid out the docs on the coffee table. Mortgage fraud. Scholarship theft. This ends now. Transfer the deed back. Or I file. Linda's face hardened. We sacrificed for this family.
No, y kuntet.
You sacrificed me. Jake shifted. I didn't know it was your app. Liar. But I stayed calm. 48 hours. They left without agreeing. That night, an email from their lawyer, cease and desist. Claims of defamation. Emotional instability. I laughed. First real one in days.
Mia grinned.
Countersuit time. A gray dawn brought resolve. I scrolled an old hard drive at Mia's, finding unlabeled files. One video, 2019, bar footage again. But this time Linda off camera, laughing as Rick ranted. She's emotional, needs tough love. I saved it triple. Jake called again. Voice cracked. You've wrecked us.
No.
I revealed you.
Pause. I'm sorry.
Okay? Didn't see the big picture. First crack in his armor. Apologies don't erase fraud.
He sighed.
What do you want?
Truth.
And restitution. Reyes emailed. Body cam from the arrest. Linda's voice. She's dramatic. He barely touched her. Officer's retort. Not your judgment. I posted redacted audio to a blog I'd started. Anonymized for now. Messages flooded. This is my story. Sorry I stayed quiet. I screenshotted. Filed under witnesses. Mia's spare room became command central. Tabs for legal, financial, emotional. I laminated key docs. Labeled the binder Unburied Truth. Mia, they thought you'd crumble like sandstone.
No.
I was granite now. The legal aid office in Flagstaff was a no-frill spot. Tucked between a coffee shop and a hiking gear store, typical Arizona practicality. I sat in the waiting area, binder on my lap, staring at the empty chair opposite. Shadows of the absent loomed large, but I wasn't waiting for them anymore. The receptionist called. MS. Thompson? Attorneys ready. Inside. MS. Lopez. A sharp-eyed Latina in her 40s. Reviewed my files. Strong case, assault, forgery, potential embezzlement if church funds tie in. Linda had been treasurer at our local Presbyterian church. Whispers of discrepancies had followed her. We filed that day. Civil suit for identity theft. Emotional distress. Criminal complaints amplified. Arizona law was clear. Forgery could mean prison time. Restitution mandatory. No vigilante justice, just the system working as intended. Back home, well, Mia's I got a church notification. Prayer circle for families divided by misunderstanding. I rolled my eyes. Forgiveness as performance art. Screenshot. File it. Weeks ticked by, with discovery motions. Their side dragged feet. But evidence mounted.
DR.
Vargas agreed to testify, remorseful, facing her own ethics board. Carla provided affidavits on the will manipulation. One night, digging county records, I found another bombshell. Church donations rerouted to personal accounts. My name on some as donor, without consent. Tax fraud? IRS territory. I confronted Linda via email. Explain this. Her reply, family decisions.
No denial.
Jake texted, stop. We're settling. But I pushed for court, public record mattered. The courthouse in Prescott was modern. Glass and stone reflecting the pines. I walked in steady. Blazer over jeans.
No frills.
Mia sat behind. Thermos in hand. They entered. Linda in soft lavender. Jake in gray, staged innocence. Their lawyer, slick as oil, carried a photo album, happy family pics to counter. Judge Harlan, a grizzled vet, called order. Their opening, emotional vendetta, your honor. Instability clouds claims. Judge, evidence, counsel. I presented, binder tabs crisp. Medical tampering, DR. Vargas's originals versus. Altered. Forged mortgage. Signature analysis shows mismatch.
Scholarship, identical apps.
Redirected funds.
Bodycam audio, Linda Don playing.
Bar video. Rick admitting. Church funds. Misappropriated under my name. For hours. Doc spoke. Their side objected, but weakly. Linda whispered to Jake. He looked down. This wasn't drama, it was dissection. Judge's ruling. Clear fraud. Manipulation. Deeds revert. Restitution for scholarships, $50,000. 5-year RO on Rick. Church matter referred to IRS. Linda gasped. Jake paled. Judge to me, MS. Thompson. Your evidence is unimpeachable. You're heard.
Outside.
Desert air crisp. Reporters lurked. I declined comment. Mia, they bet on your silence. I nodded. Victory tasted like dry wind, satisfying but not sweet. At Mia's, I shelved the binder. Peace hid as absence, no calls.
No, please.
I deleted old voicemails, archived emails. Unburdened. Days flowed. I drove past the house, now with a for sale sign. Yard unkempt. Linda on the porch, eyes red. You broke us, she said. No, I replied from the car. I stopped the breakage, drove on. I started a blog post. Silence isn't strength, it's surrender. Quoted Carla. Replant where you were uprooted. Published anonymously at first. Responses. You voiced my pain. Volunteered at a women's shelter in Sedona, teaching record-keeping for abuse cases. Tuesdays became purpose. One afternoon, at Oak Creek Canyon, I sat under a sycamore, Mia's tea in hand, pressed a wildflower into my notebook, goodbye to old roots. Jake called. Read your post. Didn't realize half. You chose not to. Silence.
Sorry. No promises.
Just acknowledgement. We hung up clearer. Mail brought an invite. Arizona Women's Advocacy Conference in Phoenix. Speak on empowerment. My name alone, no baggage. Phoenix buzzed. Urban oasis in the desert. Hotel simple. Venue intimate. Program. Sarah Thompson. Advocate. Mic in hand. I ditched notes. Silence was my shield. Now truth is my sword. They borrowed my future. I reclaimed it. Applause.
Tears.
A woman. You said what I couldn't. Headline later. Local church leader probed for embezzlement. Linda's photo. I whispered. Light finds cracks. Retrieved grandma's locket from a safe deposit. Initial set. Sophia Elena Thompson. Wore it like armor. Moved to a Phoenix studio above a cafe. Sheltered women. Taught classes. Document when they deny. Letter from Linda. You lost family. No reply. Blog finale. I reclaimed the void. Published. Then walked Sonoran desert trails at sunset. Phone pinged. Unknown. Inspired, can we connect? Story ongoing. But stories don't tie up neat as a bow in real life. Especially out west where the horizon stretches forever. Reminding you there's always more road. After the conference, I settled into Phoenix routine, mornings at the shelter, afternoons hiking Piestewa Peak to clear my head. The locket bounced against my chest. A reminder of roots worth keeping. One evening, Deputy Reyes called. Case update. Rick pled guilty to assault. 6 months probation. Anger management. Linda's IRS audit ongoing. Could face charges. No glee, just closure. Thanks for believing, I said. You made it easy with evidence. Jake reached out via email, selling the house. Mom's moving to Tucson. Want anything? Neutral.
No, irraplia.
But let's talk sometime. Seeds of mending? Carla visited, coffee in my studio. Found old letters from Dad, apologies to both of us. We read. Laughed bitterly. Then forgave a ghost. Family's what we build, she said. We started weekly calls, sisters reclaimed. Blog grew. Publishers noticed. Book deal? An agent asked. I pondered, share to help, not sensationalize. At the shelter, a woman named Rosa shared her story. Echoes of mine. How'd you break free? One call at a time, I said. Light lesson.